I am super excited to be here. I'm super excited to hear from our speaker. The only thing I really wanted to bring up to the group is I just wanted to extend my excitement and thank you again to everyone who helped us, fulfill our mission on our March meeting, our annual conference. I thought it was incredible. If you were there, I hope you did too. Thank you to everyone who arranged it and who set up our speakers and set up for the day and helped tear down for the day. I just want to extend another thank you to everyone. Beyond that, I don't have anything I need to share with the group this morning. And with that, Sarah is not going to be here this morning. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well, so there won't be a report from her. Alan is also not here today, but I do want to see if Catherine, our past president, has anything that she'd like to add.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to let you know that our after hours, what's it called? Tell me again.
After show.
After show. Topic for today is one that might be really hitting a lot of us as we are working with our employees. We've worked really hard to make great benefit plans, but sometimes those retirement plans look a little iffy when the market is going crazy like it is right now. So we wanted to have our after show really focus on how are we helping our employees not panic, manage, make good decisions when they're looking at their 401k and that kind of thing. So we're going to be talking about that during our after show and would love for everybody to join us just for some conversation after we have our presentation today.
Thank you, Catherine. And again, that's just 10, 15 minutes where we sit around and kind of hash out this topic. So if you can join us, that'd be great. Ray, membership chair, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just briefly, wanted to share that most people have paid their invoices that Alan has sent out. We do have a handful that are still pending. So if you don't mind to just reach out to me if you have received an invoice from Alan or an email from myself and let us know if you're planning on joining Forever Sherm. So at least, and if something has occurred where that has changed, just let us know so that we don't continue to send you emails and harass you. We're definitely happy everyone is here today. Thank you all again for joining us at the conference, our annual conference. It was a success because of you all. I wanted to echo what Melissa said. We appreciate you and we're really super excited for the programming this year. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Ray. I don't see Rachel on the call and I don't see Deb on the call. Marianne, is there anything you need to share with the group with regard to communications?
Just that on Friday we will have the recording to this particular meeting, a link to that on our YouTube channel. All of our meetings from the past are there if you are interested and would like to go back and touch some of the topics. That link will be in the newsletter, as well as we will continue to promote the scholarship program, which is due, applications are due on May 16th.
Okay. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. And with that, Marianne, I believe that concludes everything. I will turn it over to you again to introduce our sponsor.
Okay, well, this morning I'm really excited to share. We have DJ Story with us from Hub International. We all know and love DJ. He does a great job coming and talking with us from time to time about different employee benefits. So his conversation is fitting in with our after show conversation, and we're really excited to have that. When we do appreciate the Hub International being a partner with us and our sponsor. And as soon as I can find him, I will make him a co-host. There you are. There you are, DJ. Okay.
Okay.
Make a co-host.
It's working. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Marianne. The check is in the mail for that nice endorsement. Yes, I'm DJ. I'm with Hub, a artist formerly known as Peel and Holland, if you know us from those days. But thank you so much for the time today. I will keep it short and sweet on my end. Did is the Oh, now it's working. Now my screen sharing. Okay, perfect. On my end, really today, I just wanted to go through a couple of components that came out of our employee benefits outlook that Hub provides, and we'd be happy to give you a copy of that after this meeting. Talk a little bit about what's going on that can be helpful for you and your teams, and then just be available for you if you have any follow-ups and questions. So I'll dive into it. Our Hub Outlook and it is a survey that takes over 900 employers nationwide and brings some really great insights. But a couple of things that stuck out to me, this is not going to be surprising to you all in your industry, but in a recent study, that 46% of professionals are considering leaving their job in the next 12 months. This is compared to 40% ahead of that great resignation in 2022. This is the CNBC poll. Another coordinating fact was that 56% of employees in this past year said they were satisfied with the benefits. That's down from 65% in the year prior. We know in our world that those things correlate, right? The things that you're providing culturally, but also financially to help benefit employees is the stickiness and the retention quality that helps them stay with your companies. So what are folks doing? And this outlook really drives into some of these key points. I won't dive into all of the details today, but I think these are the key components to make sure that we have our eyes on. I would encourage you to have your eyes on if you don't already. One is considering alternative financing approaches. We know that the cost of healthcare and benefits are not going down, they're only going up. Medical inflation is somewhere in the 8 to 10% range right now. Pharmacy inflation is over 15%. The cost of getting care is always increasing. So, what can an employer do? They can make sure that they're looking at how they finance that risk and mitigate that risk so that they can reinvest into their employees. When I talk about self-funding, sometimes people go, that's a risk I'm not willing to take. My point is always, it's a question of when you pay it, not if you pay it. The insurance companies are always going to come and ask for more money if you have more claims. Can you take more control of that operation? That's one thing that we try to help provide for our clients. So evaluating that, not necessarily meaning you have to move down those roads, but evaluating that and seeing, understanding what that looks like for you and your company, I think is crucial because that is money that can be reinvested into your employees. How do you do that? Well, you dive into data. You have to know not just the claims information, but the costs that are coming out of your cost of your benefits, but also the data of your people, demographic analysis, things that you guys get a lot of information on. You do a great job, but looking at how do we see who our people are and what they're requiring. One of the ways is on number 3 is that personalization. Benefits are not one size fit all anymore. You all know this more than most. You have to find ways to understand, hey, what are the things that my population is dealing with, and do we need to have specific benefits tailored to those individuals? That could be in the range of just insurance products, or it also could just be in additional education opportunities and providing that cohesive structure for your employees. We do that in one way through a persona analysis, and I'll talk about that briefly. I know most of you have heard about that before, but that is one component that can help you be successful. And then making well-being a priority. Well-being used to be just wellness, right? Hey, let's get some people some healthy behaviors. Let's make sure that they're drinking water and we're getting steps in. Well-being is more holistic now than it's ever been. And just to the point on that after party, it involves financial wellness. Do we have the conversations and giving the tools for success for our employees so that they understand what they need to be to do in the financial arena to feel like they're financially well? It also can be in mental health. I've had more conversations in the last couple of years than I ever have around products and offerings and additional support that could be in the mental health space. So looking for those opportunities as well based on your populations. This is the life cycle of an employee, and we know that when we're hiring folks that they're going through a lot of things that don't have anything to do with our companies. They come in as a new hire and they're ready to go, and then they have all of these life changes along the way. And one thing that we want to make sure to help illuminate and provide is care and support through those processes. That could be, like I said, insurance products, or it could just be additional information for your employees. So how do we do that? That does go into our persona analysis. So this is a demographic analysis of your population. This really brings information on not only who your people are, but where they are in their journey. It gives stats and data around how much of your population could be empty nesters, could be single parent households, could be financially fragile or high net worth individuals, and we don't want to discriminate on either end of that process and what we're providing for our employees, and so that understanding what your population looks like, having real data around that, can help provide more information for you on how you can tailor those benefits and continue that retention that you want within your company. So at Hub, just as a reminder, we have areas and experts in all of these different components around employee benefits, from cost management to employee engagement, health and performance, wellness, compliance. I've had more conversations the last couple of weeks about HR technology around payroll systems and evaluations, and we have specific people to help support you in that journey. And you don't have to be a Hub client for us to engage and help with that process as we continue to want to support you and your team. So reach out and we'll be happy to help connect the dots. You mentioned financial wellness or retirement. We have a retirement and private wealth arm as well, and we'd love to be able to connect our folks with that. But we're fifth largest insurance broker in the world now. We have a lot of employees. We've got a lot of folks that are doing employee benefits, but we're right here in their backyard still. So we want to pair that national expertise with that local approach, and that's just what we're going to do. So that's me. You have my information, and if I'll be happy to reach out, be a sounding board, be another resource for you if I'm not working with you currently. But always love to share and help support Four Rivers SHRM. You guys do a great job, and appreciate all that you do. So don't miss out on a chance to win a gift card. You can scan the QR code and be entered in for a $25 Starbucks card. And I will mention if anybody, oh, that's a good way to, you had to get it quick. Sorry, guys. Just kidding. Let me get it pulled back up here. I'll get that sent out to you all so that we can make sure everybody gets a chance for that gift card. But we are also sponsoring a happy hour at the National SHRM Conference. So if anybody is headed that way, let us know and we can send you the registration information for that as well. So with that, I think I'm supposed to introduce Travis. I don't know you, Travis, but I appreciate you bringing everything you have to the table. And thanks for giving me the time here, guys, and look forward to talking to y'all soon.
Thank you, DJ. We appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
All right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and read off some information about Travis. First off, Travis, thank you for being here with us today. We're very excited to hear from you. Sarah has spoken very highly of you, and we are very excited. For the rest of you who don't know anything about Travis, Travis is the Human Resources Manager at Global Laser Enrichment, GLE, bringing 18 years of diverse HR experience spanning staffing, healthcare, real estate, and manufacturing. His full bio, I believe, was in our newsletter, and he's going to be speaking to us today about the employee journey. So it's a nice tie-in with some of the things DJ was speaking of. With that, Travis, thank you again for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Sorry, let me unmute there. That definitely helps. Can everybody first off see my slides the right way and not in presenter mode, right? You can see full screen?
Yes.
We can.
Perfect. All right. So I do want to say thanks for having me today. I'm very excited. As you heard, am Travis McCracken, and I am also have a little brand out there on social media that is called the HR Dude, which is kind of how I kind of fell into that. I was explaining that to some people yesterday. I was at the North Carolina SHRM conference, and somebody came up and handed me a little sticker that said HR Dude, and I was like, I wonder if that's branded anywhere, and it wasn't, which surprised me. So I was like, I'm going to go as the HR Dude. So I do work for Global Laser Enrichment. I've been in HR for 18 years. I'm a member of our local chapter here as well, which is called the Lower Cape Fear HR Association. And I'm also a member of the Walden University student chapter. So I am very engaged in SHRM as a whole. And I do have to say, just because I do this every presentation, that even though I do work at Global Laser Enrichment, what I talk about today represents me and the HR dude, not the company I work for. Just like to make sure everybody is aware of that, because I don't want to, make you think I'm here representing one or the other today, but I'm here for me and the HR dude to talk to you all about the employee experience. So DJ kind of talked about it, and I thought he was going to go into the employee experience and steal my whole presentation. So thanks, DJ, for not doing that. So just a few quick learning outcomes for today is, what is the X factor? We want to talk about that. We want to talk about the O's of the X factor. In person, I normally have a little X factor showdown that we do. We're going to do it a little bit different virtually. We're still going to have it, and then just some final thoughts. So let's first talk about what is the X factor. Let's talk about that. So the X factor, also known as the employee experience, is what sums it up is that it's all interactions with employees. So it can be from the moment that you start talking to them and recruiting, all the way to when they leave and after they leave your company. These interactions shouldn't just be random. They should shape the employee's perception of the workplace, the culture and their values, what we say, how we treat them, and even the way we handle policies. Gives employee clues about what's really important to our organizations. So this directly impacts employee satisfaction, engagement, retention, and I think we all know that happy employees stick around longer. And I think as HR, that's what we want. We want people to stick around. Yes, it's job security if we're having to hire people, but we want to hire for growth, not for backfills. So happy employees stick around longer, they give more, better performance, and are more likely to advocate for the company. So unhappy employees, well, right now as we speak, they're probably updating their LinkedIn profiles to open to work. So you better go check those out and find out who that is. So the X factor, though, it spans the whole life cycle, from the moment we first attract a candidate through onboarding, ongoing development, and even after they leave. So it's not just a feel-good concept. It's the employee experience has direct influence on organizational performance and brand reputation. Employees with great experiences are productive and become ambassadors for our company, while again, poor employee experience can lead to high turnover, disengagement, and even damage to the company's reputation. So let's talk about the O's of the X factor. First, we have oncoming, then we have onboarding, then we have ongoing, and then we have offboarding. So these are the four things that we're going to dive into today. So first, I think we've all heard making a great first impression, right? So we think that that's something that truly matters in our field of human resources. We are typically the face that these people see from the very beginning. So think about it as a first date with your future employee. First impressions truly do matter. So let's make recruiting exciting. Recruitment is often seen as a formal, even boring process. And the job market, I know you know this because you're HR professionals, it's more competitive now than it's ever been. So we need to stand out. We need to think about, what if the recruitment process wasn't just about filling out applications or doing interviews? What if an exciting experience could happen? What if we could shape that into something that the candidate will never forget? We can inject into it some excitement about the process by doing things like hosting interactive recruitment events, a virtual day in the life of experiences, and even show potential employees that it isn't just another job, it's a journey that we want them to be part of. So let's say you have a company that really values creativity. Why not ask the candidates to complete a fun, creative task, like as part of their application, like what would you do if you were CEO for the day? This kind of makes the process engaging and gives some insight into their mindset right away. It helps us see what they are thinking. So showcase the company culture early. That's what we want to talk about next. Is showcasing our company culture early would allow the candidates to feel the personality from the get-go. not something they have to wait until they're already in the company to see, been with a company for years to find out what the company culture is like. They should have seen that through the job postings and the interviews on our websites and every way that we can possibly reflect our values and culture of the organization. So if you have a laid back, casual work environment, show that off in your job posting. Don't just list qualifications and responsibilities like a robot. Let's put some fun into it. Let's put some laid back. So if you value work-life balance, let's highlight the flexible hours or remote options of the job posting. Maybe your company is big on innovations. Show how teams collaborate to create a cutting-edge project, or candidates want to envision what life will look like when they're working for you and your organization. So let them see that from day one. And then next on the oncoming is clear communication equals happy candidates. I'm sure you all have heard the term of ghosting. It doesn't just happen in dating. It happens in the workplace. I hear from candidates all the time of, will you follow up with me? Yes. And so I make sure and I tell them this at the end of their interview, I will follow up with you, and I try to give them by this date and this time, I will follow up with you. Even if it's not the news you want to hear, I will make sure that you know where we stand and where you stand with us. So that is something that you should do, is communicate and let them know where they stand. The number one complaint from candidates these days is a lack of communication. So this definitely applies as we go through the employee experience. They can see this from the very beginning. We don't want the horror stories of, I never heard back from them. People go on to social media, to LinkedIn, to Glassdoor, to all these different places, and they let people know their experience. And what we want people to do is go on and tell about how what an amazing experience they had. And this way it helps promote your business even from the oncoming position. So even if a candidate doesn't get the job, and we know that happens, if they are informed, then they feel respected and they'll walk away with a positive view of the company. Maybe they weren't the right one for the role. Maybe you don't have the time to tell them why. That's okay. Not all of us do. But just letting them know that, I'm sorry, at this time, we've moved on with another candidate. We greatly appreciate your time. This bad news is just as critical as the good news, because it is not putting them out there to never hear from you again. So to wrap up on the oncoming phase, this is where the magic starts. This is where the opportunity to woo top talent and make them feel excited about the possibility of working for your company. A strong, exciting, and communicative recruitment process isn't just about filling seats. It's about attracting the right people, and it's setting the stage for an amazing employee experience journey. So now we're going to move on to the onboarding. A lot of us know about onboarding. We do it all the time. This is part of our typical HR process. So this is the critical phase of the employee experience where we really set the tone. We've set them up for what we feel like they should feel like our company is all about. We've given them good expectation about our culture and about how we operate. So now this is a critical phase for what it's really like to work with us. So how do we make this welcome party unforgettable? Well, let's address the elephant in the room. Onboarding often feels like a tedious paperwork marathon. I hope if you can nod your head if you agree with this. It's what we feel. It's just like, okay, you got to fill out this paper, this paper, this paper. In certain organizations and things like that, it's even worse because you have certifications, you have different things, education you have to check off on, and all the things that go along with it. But it doesn't have to necessarily just be that. Instead of bombarding new hires with forms and compliance right off the bat, let's make the onboarding experience something that they look forward to. So this is a time, again, to introduce company culture, values, introduce them to their team members in a fun and engaging way. So, for example, consider incorporating team building activities into the first week. Do a scavenger hunt that requires new hires to meet people and learn about them. learn about what different departments do. This way, they're not just learning about the company, but they're becoming part of it. They're engaging with their coworkers, they're engaging with the departments, they're learning all about this company. So next, we want to talk about mentors and buddies. So I don't know if your companies do this or not, but it's a great way, if you don't, to help people feel like they at least have somebody that they can rely on besides HR whenever they get started. So this allows them to pair the new hire with a mentor or buddy. This can be a game changer. When employees have someone who they can turn to answer questions, provide guidance, even share insider tips, it eases the transition significantly. So this way they're feeling at ease. So think of a buddy system kind of as a welcoming committee. Someone who can share lunch breaks with them, show them the best coffee spots, or even help them navigate the office dynamics. This makes the new hire feel supported and less overwhelmed. It's all about building those connections and friendships right from the start, which helps foster a sense of belonging and community. So the last step of the onboarding that we'll discuss today will be learning the ropes in style. So let's again emphasize that new hires should learn the ropes in style. Don't just throw them into the deep and expect them to be able to swim. Instead of the dull training sessions filled with slideshows, let's create an engaging onboarding program. So consider using something interactive in the training sessions. Especially at the younger ages that are coming on board, try to find a way to do some gamification or virtual reality experiences where you can. I know not all places can do that, but you might create an interactive online platform where new employees can complete challenges and that are related to their roles and earn points and badges for completing modules. And this not only keeps the onboarding process engaging, but it also helps them retain information better. So don't forget about the power of storytelling, because we want to share our success stories. We want to tell them where we've been, what we've overcome, and where we're at now. So that way they get an idea, again, of the whole culture of our company and where we're at. So hearing how others have grown with the company, you might say, hey, meet Joe. Joe started off as a mechanical technician, and now he's an engineering manager. He worked his way up through the company. Show examples of how there's options to grow with the company. So to wrap up the onboarding portion here, this is our opportunity to make lasting first impressions. We did the first impressions in the oncoming. Now we want to make those lasting impressions. So the welcome party is where we show new hires how to get excited about who we are and us as a company and how we are investing in them to be successful. If we create an onboarding experience that is interactive, supportive, and fun, then we set the stage for employees who feel valued, connected, and contribute from day one. So next, we're going to go to ongoing. So this is a portion that we want to keep the excitement going. And a lot of places kind of forget this step because we had to do all the wooing to get them on the oncoming. We got them onboarded, and now it's like, hey, go do a great job. Okay, we forget about them being there. So let's do professional and personal development plans that don't suck. Okay, let's get them engaged in that. So a personal development plan, it's no secret that employees crave growth opportunities. Again, I shared how you can tell them about people who have worked their way up through the company. So many organizations still treat development plans as more of just a checkbox. And, okay, well, we gave them this training, we're done. But we need to shift that mindset. Instead of bland document filled with these vague goals of you need to do this and you need to do that to be successful in your job. Let's create dynamic, personalized development plans that inspire and empower the employees. These plans should be tailored to each individual's career aspirations and skills they wish to develop. So consider implementing regular one-on-one meetings where managers and employees can collaborate the goals and set goals and discuss the progress and then adjust as necessary. This not only keeps the development at the forefront, but it also shows the employees that we genuinely care about their growth and the future within their organization. I think this is very important because, again, it's something we hear a lot in the HR world is I just don't feel like I have anywhere to go. People coming to us for interviews or you to interviews, if you say, hey, why are you wanting to leave the company you're with? I just don't have any room for growth. We hear that all the time. So now let's talk about feedback. Make it a conversation. Let's focus here on, I don't know if you all are like me, but traditional performance reviews often feel like a dreaded annual event. They are absolutely horrible. So you get somebody, an employee, you sit them in a room, listen to the manager read off a list of scores, and walk away feeling confused and disheartened. They don't understand why you're talking about some of the things you're talking about that happened 10, 12 months ago, and we're still bringing them up when they should have been discussed as continuous feedback, conversations, continuous conversations that lead into regular check-ins that help create a culture of open communication where employees feel comfortable discussing their achievements, their challenges, and areas for improvement. So encourage managers that you have to ask open-ended questions and actively listen to employees about their input. This not only provides a valuable insight, but also it's going to foster a sense of trust and collaboration with that employee. So feedback should not just be one way. Encourage employees to share their thoughts on management practices and company policies, and get that two-way dialogue of that will help strengthen relationships. So managers and employees communicating monthly, weekly, however you can set it up to be able to build on that rather than just a one time a year sit down. Here's everything that you did right. Here's all the things you did wrong. Here's your raise. Have a great year. I'll see you next year. Those things don't work with employees today. They want feedback that become conversations. And then finally, on ongoing, we're going to talk about opportunities to shine. We want to provide opportunities for employees to really excel in their path. So everyone wants to feel valued and recognized. We know that. We do the same. We want to feel that. They want to feel like their contributions are making a difference. So let's create avenues for employees to showcase those skills and those talents. This could be through projects, cross-functional teams, leadership roles, and specific initiatives. Maybe a spotlight program where employees can present their work and ideas to their team. This not only builds their confidence, but it also encourages collaboration and innovation within an organization. So recognizing achievements, whether they're big or small, plays a crucial role in keeping the employees engaged. This allows us as HR managers to celebrate successes, whether it's through like a shout out in a meeting, recognition programs, employee of the month, employee of the year, whatever it is, where employees feel appreciated and they are more likely to remain committed and motivated. So to sum up the ongoing phase, it's about maintaining excitement and engagement that we've built during the onboarding and oncoming phase. But now by investing in personal development, fostering conversations and feedback, and creating opportunities for employees to shine, now we set the stage for a long-term success. And as we've already said, happy employees are productive employees. And by continuously nurturing their growth and connection, then we create a thriving workplace where employees are going to stay. And then the last one, outgoing. This is the one we don't like to talk about because none of us want to see our employees leave. Okay, well, maybe there's a few that we do. Maybe there's a few that we would like to see leave, but we don't like talking about the outgoing because this is, the hard part of HR is either having to let somebody go or have that discussion that they want to move on. So as we approach this final stage, let's talk about the grand finale. This is not just saying goodbye, but it's ensuring that both the employee and the organization leave with a positive impression. So let's end on a high note. We want to end with a big bang. It's essential to remember how we part ways with employees can have a lasting impact, not just on the departing individual, but also the remaining team members of the organization and that culture. Sometimes you have an employee leave and it makes a huge dent in the staff. and that morale can just completely go down. So we want to be careful of how we do this. So consider hosting a farewell event or a gathering. This can be as simple as a lunch, snacks, a team meeting, or a more elaborate way to send somebody off. The goal here, though, is to celebrate contributions of the departing employee and provide opportunities for the colleagues to share their appreciation and farewell wishes. So this kind of positive farewell can leave a lasting impression on not just the one leaving, but the one staying. And that way they see that they're valued as a team member, whether they're here or whether they leave, that they have that value. And it sets a precedent of how we handle departures and promotes a culture of respect and gratitude. So exit interviews, they're gold mines. And sometimes they can be landmines, but they definitely can be gold mines if we do it the right way. So exit interviews should be treated as not just mere formalities or just a task that, again, we check off a box, but they should be a gold mine of information that can provide valuable insights to our workplace culture, employee satisfaction, and areas for improvement. So when conducting an exit interview, it's important to create a comfortable environment where a departing employee feels comfortable sharing their thoughts candidly. And if you've done well with the other steps of the employee experience, that stage should already be set where the employee has that comfort level that they can talk to you freely and share what they really feel. So ask open-ended questions about their experience. What did you like about working here? What could have we done better? Why are you leaving? Try to get that feedback that can highlight trends or issues within the organization that we may not be aware of. For instance, if multiple employees cite a lack of growth opportunities, again, we need to go back to the step before, and we need to address the personal and professional development that should be going through the ongoing stage. By leveraging this feedback, we can improve employee experience for those who remain and future hires that we bring in, ultimately, hopefully, enhancing our retention. And then stay friends with alumni. This is something that I think is very important, that we finally should focus on the importance of staying friends with the people who leave. We should, at a certain stage when our companies are large enough and we've been in business long enough, you can create that alumni sense where people come back, or you have alumni events, or you have networking events where alumni can come back and stay connected with the organization and each other. Could be a separate LinkedIn page for your business and then name it alumni, kind of like you do when you graduate, a college. You then join the alumni network and stay connected with people. So think about that as your outgoing stage, that keeping alumni informed about company news and achievements, it helps them still feel valued. Even though they are no longer part of the company, they still invested time and energy and contributions into that company. So engaging with alumni can also lead to future benefits. You're keeping connected with them. You have an opening, you post it out there on your alumni page. They may know the perfect person, and because you have kept in contact with them, they may be able to send you an employee referral or alumni referral, and then you get another great employee out of it. So it's just a way to keep that perspective of the outgoing. Once they've left, doesn't mean it necessarily has to end. That relationship should be ongoing. So the grand finale is a crucial part of the opportunity to solidify departing employees and leave them with a positive impression. So by focusing on ending on a high note, going through exit interviews and getting that valuable feedback, staying connected with alumni, we can ensure our organization continues to thrive even as employees move on. So I have about 5 minutes left. So typically what we would do here is I'd have you to get in your tables if we were in person, or I'd break you out into groups, and you would come up with some ways in your current place of employment that you could enhance the employee experience, whether it is from the oncoming all the way through the outgoing. So I'm just going to take 2 minutes here and just ask if you have an idea that it's popped in your mind that, man, I could implement this and I could do this at X company. Or maybe it's a thing that you do and it's working well through your employee experience. Just take a few seconds, unmute your mic, and tell me about it real quick. 1, 2, 3, go. Who's first?
I'll go. I love the idea of the employee scavenger hunt. We typically do introduce, we're small enough that we are able to introduce a new employee around to all the different departments and let each employee talk just a couple, a minute or two about what they do, and then nothing is retained. But really, maybe making it more intentional to tell our managers anytime something needs to be sent anywhere, have the new employee send it so
Yeah.
that they get the familiarity with the other departments and the other areas. But just sort of saying, we want you to be sending them out so that they can intentionally be interacting with other departments. And maybe a scavenger hunt, but in my mind, it was really just even the everyday task. It may be someone else's responsibility to get something from place A to place B, or even sending emails and that kind of thing. But to have the new employee do that.
Great. I love it. Somebody else? We got about another minute and a half that we can contribute to this portion.
We're going to be starting to do with like our longer termed employees who have been here. We're going to start doing stay interviews to
Yes.
see and then just publish that information out to our staff and just to see what makes them stay and what they enjoy.
I think that's great, Brandy. Stay interviews, I should have mentioned that, but that is definitely another part of the ongoing process that we should be implementing.
I did like the when you said like to do like a farewell for the current employee, just not
Yeah.
only that's leaving, but it also shows, I didn't think of that aspect of the actual employees that are staying, like how we
Yeah.
treat people who are still leaving.
Yes, people pay
That was
attention to when people leave.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Brandy and Travis, especially Progress Rail does stay interviews, probably not as often as we should, but I think it's very important, even for the employees I hate to say this, that you don't mind that are leaving, to do that stay interview as well, because everyone's perspective is their reality. And some of those realities do kind of correlate once you start keeping up with everybody. Well, okay, good. John's gone down the road, fair riddance. But we do need to look at each stay interview, and not let our personal biases get in those ways. So
Yes, very
there could be
good.
some correlation in that.
Okay, 30 more seconds. Anybody else before we move on?
Yes, I would like to share. This is something that we do here, and it's actually Melissa who put it together before I joined the team. But we actually have a welcome box
Okay.
that we send all new employees. So it goes back to that onboarding, setting that stage between, the first day and the recruitment piece of really welcoming them to the team. So that when they walk through the door, they have that warm feeling that we're excited that they're joining us and
Yes.
celebrating that day. It just changes the mindset when they receive that ahead of time. So we either hand deliver it ahead of time or mail it to their home. And I think that changes the whole interaction, and because they are excited for that first day.
Completely agree. And especially if you can get them some employee swag, a shirt, a hat, notebook, something that shows the employee company. It's like, hey, they've already invested in me. They're giving me stuff that has the company branding on it. So yeah, that is very important. Thank you, Ray, for sharing that. So just to final, the big payoff measuring success, obviously in HR, we measure a lot of things, KPIs, all the things that we do. So retention, engagement, and performance is definitely a way you can measure this. Again, happy employees equals a thriving business. And then we want to celebrate the wins as we go through. So you heard a lot of great things, not just from me, but from you all speaking out today. So take some time and implement this. I know not every one of us are in a role that we can necessarily say, oh, I'm going to do this now, but maybe start having those conversations with your manager or the higher ups that you can start implementing part of this employee experience into your success of your business. So as I finish, I do have a slide here. If you want to scan the QR code, continue to connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my personal LinkedIn, but on there you'll also find a link to the HR Dude if you want to connect with the HR Dude LinkedIn as well. More than happy for you to stay connected and continue to see, what I post and what's going on in the cycle of human resources. I'll leave this up for about 5 more seconds, and then I'm going to switch over to a feedback one that I would love for you to scan this. It does give you the option to say, no, I don't want my information put out there like as a, social media post, but this will allow you to give me feedback on what you thought, because as we've talked about in the employee experience, feedback is a great tool. So as I'm out here speaking to other HR chapters and HR professionals and business leaders, I love to hear feedback of what I can do better, what I can maybe do different, or maybe you're just like, hey, I really enjoyed it, and you just want to let me know. I appreciate that too. So I am very grateful that I was able to come to the Four Rivers, or not really come, but I guess I was invited to speak to you guys virtually. And I'm very thankful that I was able to be part of this today, and you for having me. And I'm finished now with my part. So turn it back over to Melissa or whoever's going to take over from here.
Thank you so much, Travis. We really appreciate your time and your energy and the tips that you gave us. I
Absolutely.
think they're things that we all need to be reminded of from time to time, because sometimes we get a little immune to, or not immune necessarily, but just into our pattern, and here's how we do things. And so I think it's always good to have a different perspective. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. With that, I would just remind anyone that if you are interested in volunteering with Four Rivers SHRM, you can get in touch with any of our board or committee members, or you can email Four Rivers SHRM chapter@gmail.com. I would also remind you to please join us for our May meeting. I do not have the name of our speaker on hand, but Sarah has really been working on the lineup, and I'm certain it will be incredible.
It is Matt Eddy. It is Matt Eddy.
Okay. Okay, I did not see that. Thank you. And then after this, we will start our after show, which is about 10 or 15 minutes, where we will take time to discuss how to help calm employee fears in current times with regard to their 401k. So thank you all for attending. I appreciate it. And we will see you in May.
Travis, some of the members are having a hard time accessing the QR code.
Do you know which one? Is it the LinkedIn or the, I just posted in the chat for.
That new one worked.
Okay, the new one worked. I will post both just in case. The feedback one is there, and then here is my LinkedIn.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm glad people are using it. That makes me happy.
A second to log off if they're not interested in our after show.
I like DJ called it an after party, and I liked that
I like
as well.
that.
That's also good.
It's very good. Very good.
Melissa or Sarah, do you want me to stay on for this part, or is this more for your chapter and members?
If you have time, we would love to have your thoughts and perspective. If
Okay.
you do not, we completely understand that as well.
I can definitely stick on for a little bit longer.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Catherine, I'm going to let you reintroduce this topic so that everybody knows what we're talking about again.
Sure. So this is our after show or after party, and there's not a set agenda. It really is just a time for us to share our thoughts on it. And when the board was talking during our recent meeting of what's a topic that is current, that we all might be dealing with, the market is really volatile right now, and we have a lot of employees who are looking at that wondering, oh, what is this going to do for my retirement? What does this mean for my long-term plans? What if this means I have to work another couple of years? And depending on where they are in that employee life cycle, some people know they're able to ride out the ups and downs, but there's others that are really maybe having a large amount of anxiety and stress over it. So we thought about talking with our group about ideas, anything that y'all are doing to try and help educate your employees about their 401ks or their other benefit plans for retirement, things that you or might be doing to help them ease their fears, resources that you're using, anything like that as you navigate helping your employees see you are providing excellent benefits. This is a good benefit plan, even though when they might not see it when they turn on the evening news. We would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think I'll chime in. One of the things that we have seen, Tanya and Ray, correct me if your thoughts are different, but I think our broker has stepped up their communications over the past few weeks. I feel like every day I've gotten something saying if you're soon to retire, or if you're like on the cusp, or if you're Gen X and you're thinking about when am I going to retire, I really feel like they have been communicating with us a lot for those groups in particular. And that is not coming from us. That is prompted by them, which I have been appreciative of. But
so utilizing your broker and those other resources that you're paying for.
yes,
That
exactly.
They're there for a reason, to let them do the legwork on some of that, on providing, and even if it's creating graphics, but providing information that you can just push out.
Yeah, and just reminding them, hey, if you're worried, set up an appointment. We're going to have, they've had several meetings that are, group meetings, but they also tell you, if you prefer to have a private meeting, reach out. We'll do that too. So they've been excellent at communication, but I can't say that we've generated that. So I would love to hear ideas of what other people are doing.
I think for us, of course, we're a little different than most of you guys because we have a national association that administers our 401k plans, our pension plans, and those kinds of things. But I think it's education. I think it's educating people before the market is bad, before these things are happening. It's education along the way, helping them to understand how 401ks operate, how if you're at certain points, you have time to bounce back. Allocations and all of those kinds of things. So I think for us, we have those people come in and educate and have meetings with our employees. And I think that is so important from the get-go, especially with, younger, we hire 19 and 20-year-old groundmen, line apprenticemen. And so it's educating them early in their careers and continuing the education and not just being reactive when things are going poorly.
I think that's good advice, Vanessa.
One thing that we've also been doing beyond just the communication and the education is we have periodically scheduled times in our locations for our employees to meet one-on-one in 15-minute increments. I think on about a quarterly basis. Tanya's been taking care of that and scheduling all of that. And for those that aren't in this location, then they can schedule remote, or if that time doesn't work, remote connections and utilizing those resources where they can have that one-on-one education and address the questions that they may not feel confident to ask in a group setting. And I know that all of those sessions have been booked within the first 15 minutes of the email. So I know it's something that has really touched a large portion of our employees that we may not have reached otherwise.
I would second that, Ray. We do those individual meetings as well. We offer those every year, and then they always can pick up the phone and talk to our advisors because we have a group of advisors that will work with our employees. But I think those one-on-ones are very, very important. And I made sure like any new hires had that scheduled. We do like around 30-minute sessions for our folks, 20, 25, 30 minutes. But this year when we did it, I think I had we have 68, 69 employees now, and I had 38 people do one-on-ones. People are wanting that time.
Wow.
One thing that we've really tried to focus on is talking about wealth building and in terms instead of retirement, because for so many people, retirement seems so far away. So we just talk about how what the choices that you're making now are going to be building wealth. And as you transfer from job to job or whatever, you're taking that wealth with you, even if you decide to leave us. And I think that shows care for the employee, that even if they are not planning to stay here long term, they're still eligible to start with our retirement plan. But we just want to help them build wealth long term. And I think that does. I think for the younger people, that makes sense to them because they don't want to talk about retirement at all. But you talk about wealth and they're in.
Catherine, that makes me think, though, it's important for us to tailor those messages based on what generation and where someone is in their life. Like Gen Z is going to have a different perspective. They may want a wealth build and they may think I'm never going to get to retire versus, someone who is a boomer may be thinking, oh, it's right here on the cusp. And their approach is going to be very different than that Gen Z or that millennial.
We just, the retirement language was not connecting at all.
Yeah.
With a large number of people.
Yeah, I can see that.
Before we jump off, I have a couple of questions I would like to ask the group, if you don't mind. I participate on the Community Development Advisory Council for the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, and we're meeting this week with the Board of Governors, and they've posed a couple of questions that they would like to hear. And if you all don't mind, I'm happy to send these out as an email, an email from Mary Ann Medlock. If you want to think about it. But if you all don't mind, I'd like you to kind of think about what trends are you seeing with your company? Are you posting as many job orders as what you've been posting? What are the types and numbers of job openings? Are they the same as what you've been doing over the last couple of years, or have they changed? Another question I'd like for you to think about, what about your wages? We have seen traditionally over the last 4 years a rise in wages where we've been catching up with the national market. Are you all anticipating wages to continue to rise? Are you thinking about how to respond to inflation? What are your wage plans for this year? Are you going to remain the same? Are you already being impacted by inflation, or how you're going to respond to tariffs? How are you responding to the higher prices? So I'll send those 3 questions out to you all. And if you don't mind, just send a couple of things back to me. But I'd really like to be able to share your voice with this group, with the Federal Reserve Bank. They never tell us what they're planning to do with this information, but it's the first time since 2019 that they've invited the council to be able to speak to one of the Board of Governors as well as the bank president. So I'd love to be able to share your thoughts on those things.
How exciting. Yes, please send it. I would be glad to answer it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very scary time. And back to the 401k, we have over 4,000 employees with Progress Rail across the United States, into Mexico, into Canada. So the tariffs is really, what can we say? Our company matches 100% up to 6%. So trying to ease the fears of our employees, just saying, some of that 6% that you might be losing in the market was the money that was donated, it was kind of like the employer helping you out. So trying to ease some of that pain, kind of like what we went through when COVID hit. There was a decline in the markets then. So, and we have, with A-Light, we have professionals that deal with those employees. And hey, if you're not happy the way that your plan is making money, then don't do the high risk. Maybe go to the low risk. And there's different options out there to have those advisors to assist those employees. So yeah, definitely tariffs are up and down with as far as people's attitudes and where to spend their money and where not to spend the money. So you just got to act accordingly and patiently with the employees, and don't let our fear show on our faces, even though internally, Crystal, I know you and I just recently got into our newly built homes, right? And we're just like, wow, just stay calm. So most definitely. Thank you, Mary Ann. for
Thank you,
asking us.
Melinda. Thank you so much. That is outstanding. Thank you.
I think, I think that's a call for HR to think about where you're fitting in. Like, are you being a thermometer or are you being a thermostat? Are you just sensing
Exactly.
what's going on around? Are you cooling things off or heating them up? So, yeah, I think we're probably going to find it more challenging as we move forward to do that.
Agreed.
I think we'll encounter more of it. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? All right. Well, thank you all. I appreciate it. Again, Travis, thank you for sticking around.
Absolutely.
We
Happy to do
appreciate that. Well, I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to some of you sooner, but most of you next month. So take care.